Well, then what you can do is if you make your buses and your light rail that way, investors are going to say, you know what, I might want to invest right near a bus stop. Where right now people run, 10 years ago in Charlotte, they didn't want bus stops near their place of business. In fact, the politicians were often told, move the bus stop, it's causing us too much problems. But now people can make money in and around bus stops and light rail lines, transit stops, the same way you make money off of exchange or interchange on an outer beltway. It's a good investment. Don't even try to start a system unless you can get private sector support and in which the market will adapt to it. And I think you can sell the marketplace in promoting mass transit. It's worked extremely well in Charlotte. We have now a corridor where we had blight and decay and a 30s and 1940s industrial park that was empty. We put a light rail line through it, and now we have probably $300 to $400 million of new property tax investment. And it's been a good investment for the private sector, and it's been a good investment for the public sector. Well, we implemented a half-cent sales tax, which was approved by the voters and allowed by the state legislature after a fierce battle. And then we presented it to the voters, and so that brought in about $52 million a year to invest in both our bus system and into our light rail system. So our first line cost around $325 million. And then you have the ongoing operating costs, but the long-term return has been just incredible. Of course, no means of transportation pays for itself, including roads. But you're planning this for the next 50 years, not for the next election. And that's what everyone has to remember, is you're planning for 50 to 100 years from now. And 50 to 100 years in the life of a city is nothing. In the life of a politician or a business person, that seems to be a long time. But believe me, 50 years goes very quickly in a city. And I think 50 years from now, if you plan right, the people who move here 50 years from now, or the grandchildren, will say, you know what, they did it right in 2009 and 2010. They planned for the future as opposed to reacting to the future. Well, again, as we've seen in the business crashes of the last year, everyone thought short term. And if you only think short term, in the long run, you'll fail. If you think long run, you know, you might lose your next election. You might lose some money in the short term, but in the long run, the long-term sustainability will get you a good return on your investment. And we're already seeing that return after only 2 years of a light rail line in Charlotte, way beyond our expectations. I thought it would take 10 years, and I frankly thought I'd be removed from office at this point in time. Well, my advice is, as I'll be stating in my speech today, is you first got to provide the public a vision of what Nashville will look like 20 to 50 years from now if we do nothing, and what it'll look like 20 to 50 years from now if we plan for our future growth. You have to almost show them a picture. You can't overpromise though. Never overpromise. Never exaggerate what you can do, but show them a picture of what it can look like if you do something and plan, and what it'll look like if you don't plan. And all you have to do is show pictures of the last 30 or 40 years. You have to give them a vision. You have to show them, let them touch it and feel it and see it. Don't put it in a bunch of words which they won't understand and won't relate to. You won't get beyond first base. Oh, it's a passion. It's a passion because I think it's a job of leadership in both the private and public sector, is to prepare your community for the next generation so they have the same quality of life and the same opportunities that we've had. That's our job. And that, again, it's part of the failure that we're seeing now, because for the last 30 years, many cities and our businesses were looking for short-term results instead of looking long-term, 10 or 20 years down the road. If you do that, we'll all succeed. If you just look for short-term success, it will be short-term success, and you'll see no long-term value.